Hi, welcome back to more work on the K100. I've been using this bike intermittently for a couple of small little local test rides, not experiencing any issues other than I'm not happy with the front brakes. I really feel they're a bit too spongy, probably need bleeding out, so I've gone and bought some brake lines for that, which should be turned up, and I've got to fit them a bit later on. But on my last test ride, what I noticed is the bulb for indicator left went in the dash housing. Now, that needs to be replaced, and that's actually quite a bit of a convoluted procedure according to the Haynes manual. So everything else seems to work. It actually doesn't impede any of the flashing functionality. The flashes are still even front and back, or left to right rather. So it doesn't give you any kind of flash like there's a bulb out. If like your rear or front goes, it flashes faster or slower. So it just doesn't give me the telltale idiot light. A little bit annoying, but again, not a big problem. I went through the Haynes manual, and the Haynes manual suggests to replace any of the bulbs in the breadbox dash here. You have to remove the front fairing. And that's just a ball ache, realistically. No one wants to do that to replace a bulb. I've had a look, and I think that you don't need to do that necessarily. It's just a bit of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to walk you through how I'm going to do it. I think all I need is a 10mm for the bracket of the breadbox onto the top yoke. Then mine's got a screw fitting, I think, to screw the clip housing where all the wire connections are. Once all that's off, I can then take the breadbox off, unscrew the back, which is all Phillips screws, pull out the bulb that's broken and swap it out. So I'm going to walk you through that whole process, and hopefully that means I don't have to take off this front fairing, because I really don't want to. What I've done to this is turn my handlebars all the way to the right, so you can see this bolt here, and hopefully that bolt there is all that really secures the dash breadbox mounting to the bike. So it should be those two 10s, and here there is a small Phillips screw that secures this plate over the top of the connector, allowing all of that to stay in place. So first thing I'm going to do is try and get this connector housing off. Now, I don't have a stubby screwdriver that's the right size, but one of my ratchet pieces is working. Well, that screw's never going to be found again. Right, that's that screw out. That means that can all be declipped. Not sure if we can see that, but just behind there, I'm hoping that can all be declipped. That'll be easier once we get this off. Right, that's now finger loose. We get the other side by swapping the handlebars across. So you can see I've got this one loose and take it out, and this one is loose. So now hopefully by hand I can unwind this one. And then this gives me access, he says, to the back side. How does this unclip? That's the question. Okay. So now, hopefully, haha. So, to get these clips off, you unclip the middle and then pinch here, and it seems to slide out. So let's keep them in the same order, so I don't get them confused. So that's my left, that's my right. I now have the whole unit of the dash resting up here on the seat. What I need to do is take these four Allen heads out, and what that should enable is then this whole back plate can come off, allowing me access so that I can get to the back of the actual unit itself to access the screws. So hopefully these are all just going to come out nice and simply with no real issues. And then this whole unit comes off. This then comes off. And that mounts into there like that. So I can put that to one side for now. All of these screws around the edges need to come out. Okay, you can really see how long these screws are. Now it's ready to be split. Now if you look from the side here, there is a rubber seal. Now we want to try and keep that intact as much as possible. So I'm just going to slowly pull a little bit all the way around. Because ideally I don't want to disrupt that seal if I can avoid it. And if we can, we want to keep it onto the back of the housing rather than the front. There we go. So I'm just trying to keep this rubber seal here intact around the edge there, because that's our waterproof seal. My particular issue, if I hold it this way up, is this left, which is this one just here. Which means if I now pull this out, I can have a look and see it actually looks fine. Which is somewhat concerning. Not sure if you can see that, but the bulb itself looks okay. What I will do is I'll put in this other bulb instead and we'll do a retest. Because it could have just been this connection here, it's a little bit soft, but we've got the new bulb, put it in. Let's put the old bulb in my pocket so I don't lose it. You can see all the other idiot bulbs are here, the indicators are up there, generalized lighting I think is around there, fuel pump, fuel level sender. So they're all relatively accessible and they should just kind of pop out. Now, I've got to get this thing back together again and test. So all I'll do is we'll get this back in like so. We'll get a couple of screws in and then we'll plug in the wires first just to see that we're actually working. So I'm just going to put a couple on top and bottom here to avoid any ingress by anything I don't want. Alright, so just for a test fit, we've not put anything else back in place. Let's see if I can get this connector in place here. And this connector in place there. Now, if we bring you around, there we go. We can see the dash. Oh, dash lights came up, but that's good. Hey, and my indicators there. Indicators there. Excellent. That's it. Now I've got to put it all back together correctly and rewire it properly. Right, so our test fit went well. Now it should just be a case of all my screws all the way around. Once they're tight, we take our back housing back on. Just drops over the top. The 4 Allens should just easily screw in. Don't ask me what the torque settings are for these 4. I haven't got a clue. I've gone with good and tight. Now I'm going to do is feed these through again. So this is in place through this hole here and into that mount just there. So you see where I'm just drilling it through. And again, all I'm going to do is twist the handlebars to give me more access. There we go, that's got that started. And this one gets tightened up. I'm not sure what the torque settings are for these, so I've gone with good and tight. So the last part is to get the cover back in here. Okay, the screw's gone in nicely. Okay, so that's it. Everything works. The bulb is now replaced and working correctly. So I can move on to my bigger issue of the brakes. What it does mean is that it is possible to gain access to the back of the dash, pull everything apart, at least on the RS anyway, without having to take the whole fairing off. That makes life a lot easier. And one of the things I have seen and thought about doing on the actual dash unit is replacing some of those bulbs for LEDs, because they're just a bit brighter than the incandescent that normally comes standard. I don't think I need it for the idiot lights so much. They're quite visible and well done, but maybe the backlit so it can kind of go through. But then again, I don't really ride the bike at night very much. But knowing that I can get this off and apart and put back together in 10-15 minutes with no real effort or problems is quite a big win. So I may consider doing that for the future. For now, that's going to be it, and I'll probably be back on this once I've got a bit more time to sort out my front brake lines, get them switched across to braided. But for now, that's it. Give it a try yourself if you need to replace any bulbs or upgrade the LEDs. It does come apart quite simply and easily. All right, thanks very much. Any questions or hints for things I can do or improve on? Let me know. Thanks very much.